Hi, this is Dr. Stephanie Wautier, and I'm the host of Conversations with a Chiropractor. I believe healing often begins with connection, and that's really what this podcast is about. These are real conversations about health, healing, life, and the stories that shape us. Some guests come from the wellness world, some come from the community, and some simply bring a life experience worth sharing. My hope is that each conversation invites you to listen, learn, reflect, and maybe see your own life or healing in a new way. Sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and enjoy this conversation with a chiropractor. Today on Conversations with a Chiropractor, I am joined by Rebecca Tervo. Rebecca is a certified public accountant. She is an author. She is a speaker. She is nationally recognized for her advocacy for parents that are navigating the unimaginable journey of losing a child. Following the tragic suicide of her 17-year-old son, Trevor, Rebecca transformed her profound personal grief into a mission of hope, healing, and resilience. She is the author of Shattered: From Grief to Joy After My Son's Suicide, a deeply honest memoir that chronicles her family's journey through devastating loss and the path toward finding purpose again. Through her writing and speaking, Rebecca offers compassionate guidance to grieving parents. She helps them find and discover the joy that healing can bring and that meaning is still possible in life. In addition to her work as a grief educator and speaker, Rebecca is a successful CPA and business owner, bringing decades of financial expertise and leadership to entrepreneurs and small businesses. Her unique combination of professional excellence and personal authenticity allows her to connect with audiences on both practical and deeply human levels. Whether speaking to parents, healthcare professionals, community organizations, or business leaders, Rebecca inspires others with her message of resilience, courage, and the remarkable capacity of the human spirit to heal. Her story is a powerful reminder that even after life's greatest heartbreaks, hope can emerge, purpose can be rediscovered, and joy can be found again. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie. This is super fun.
So you know what's really amazing? You have done so many things in your career, but we actually met back in like 2008, 2009 when you were teaching a QuickBooks class.
Yes,
and that's how we first
crazy?
met.
I know, and I'm coming like full circle, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like when I was still in such the accounting space. And then we'll talk, I meandered out of the accounting space, and now I'm back to the accounting space. So it's so funny. But yeah.
It is.
That was
Your life.
awesome.
Yeah, you have done so many beautifully profound things. You know, you've unfortunately taken the horrible tragedy of your son Trevor's death, and you turned it into like hope for people. You wrote a book. You're an author. You're a speaker. Tell me about that really horrific time in your life and how you were even able to heal.
Yeah, well, for one thing, I guess what you don't realize, I was raising 4 kids with my husband. Like, you don't even realize that your life is just clipping along, and like you're just so busy, right? With 4 kids, and they're most of the time I feel like they were in different schools. We had so much going on. You're just racing around, and I think I was at the time I was working at the university. So yeah, I just had a really busy job. I was the director of finance at the foundation and the university. So I was really busy with that, and it was a newer job. So I was just super busy with the kids' sports and all of the family stuff, and this new job. I had been there for like 6 months. And then when Trevor died unexpectedly of suicide, we had no idea. You know, it was just super unexpected for all of us. And he was 17. And so all of the kids were still living at home. So nobody had moved out yet. Like, so the thing that happened then, it was just like this huge bundle of grief. There was 5 of us grieving, and all of us were grieving differently. And so it just brings your life to a complete halt. Like, wait, like you weren't even present before. Like, that's how it felt to me. I wasn't even present in my life. I was so busy running around. And then when grief comes, you're super present. because all of a sudden you can hardly figure out, every day feels so long. Like this is how I'm remembering it. I was so present because I was just like, how do we get to the next minute and the next hour? And how do we even get through today? And how do we sleep tonight so that we can get up again tomorrow and try to dig through again? Like it felt like a long, like life all of a sudden expanded. It was weird how the days like felt like they went on forever, because I don't know, the feelings, right? All the feelings
And
and trying
as
to
a
help
mother,
kids. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as a mother, you're trying to navigate your own grief for the loss of your son, and
Yeah.
then trying to navigate how you can caretake for the your other three
Yeah.
children, and then
Yes.
how are you and your partner navigating all of those emotions? And I
Yes.
mean,
It was really hard with the partner too, like with a marriage. I mean, marriage is hard enough. And we were fine, right? It's hard raising kids. I mean, I think we all can agree it's not easy. And it's not like we were having issues, but we were just busy doing our things, and we weren't, I feel like in some ways as parents, when you're raising kids, you're kind of in two different lives anyways. You like have your work life, and then you're at home just being with the kids, and it's not like there's a ton of time for your intimacy and your partnership. It feels like that we miss some of that, right? So then it was like, then this thing happened, and now you're trying to come back together to figure out, how do we get our family through this thing? And what was super interesting was, my husband was grieving differently than I was. So we're trying to even understand each other. We don't even understand ourselves. Like, that was how weird it was, how you understand the other person when you can't even figure it out yourself. And I think that's what led me into the coaching community. I went to search for answers for myself so that I could try to be there for my family. I mean, if I don't get myself through this, how am I going to be there for the kids? And our youngest daughter was 8 at the time. I mean, I still had 10 years before she was going to be 18. And I remember thinking one day, I don't want her to remember most of her growing up years with a mom that wasn't even here for her, or wasn't, that's what I was. And at one time I got really angry about that I was like, I can't believe that she's going to have a grieving mom for like all these years. Because you'd hear these stories about these moms, they just never I'm not saying got over it, but they just never could figure out how to get, I guess, beyond it and move forward.
yeah.
And I thought, is that me? And that's what really motivated me, was thinking about her. She was only 8. I'm like, I need to figure something out. I don't want her to have this horrible life where she's like, all I remember about my mom, she's bawling and she's not doing anything, like she couldn't get through the days. I didn't want that for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you personally reached out to grief coaches to help
Yeah.
yourself get through this. And then
Yeah.
you kind of became really intricately involved in that grief community.
Yeah, I did. At first, I became involved with like Compassionate Friends. There's this community of parents who've lost children. So I did that for a while. I mean, getting support in whatever it is that you need, I felt was super important. Like my husband, he didn't care. I think men are different than women anyways. Women probably need a lot more support, friendship support, female companionship support than men do, is what I've gathered. But then we're the ones that bring that home to our husband. That's the way he gets support, through us. Like, he's not
Yeah.
out there seeking community, and he's not doing that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that was the most helpful thing I did, was to force myself just to go out and find community and join coaching programs just for my own self. And then I went to get all the certifications too. I was like, well, I'm just going to get certified too. I mean, you might as well, right? Once you're
Right.
going through it. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if you're teaching it to others, you also are getting a better benefit from it, yourself. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So you wrote 2 books,
Yeah.
right? Yep.
I actually wrote 3 books, but the first one I would call remember the QuickBooks workbook? I wrote that
Yeah.
book too. I
Yep.
was like, hey, that's a book I wrote. So the first book was that, but I guess I never been really thought of myself as an author. But I was like, I did write that. I spent a lot of time on it. But yeah, so I wrote that book, and then I wrote the book about moving forward after Trevor's loss. And then I wrote kind of a little journal that went with it. So yeah. Yep. I did. I wrote 3 books. You're right.
So when you So you were coaching, you were doing grief coaching. And I mean, we have so many things to talk about. And if this is touching someone's heart who's lost a child to suicide, especially, we're going to guide them and direct them to some resources. We'll put those in the show notes. The book Shattered from Grief to Joy After My Son's Suicide, that is available on Amazon, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's still on Amazon. Yep.
On Amazon.
Yeah.
And is there like a specific website that's still tied to that grief coaching? No.
Nope. I did leave that coaching business just because, there's becomes a point where you actually move forward beyond that point. And I felt like if I would stay there in that space of grief coaching, I was just holding myself back. So I think everybody has, and some people might want to stay there. I didn't want to stay there, but and there's many great grief coaches, I think, that even end up doing it for years and years. But for me, it just wasn't working anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I needed to move forward from that. But that's why I left my book out, because I thought it's still a helpful resource. People still find it. They still write emails to me. It does, like, I don't know, it gives me some comfort that actually the work I did and what I went through does help other people, because it's hard to like meet with people in person. I mean, people are all over the place, right? They're all over the US and the world.
Yeah.
Can't really meet with them in person. You just, I would love to do that. I love to go to places and meet with people and talk about things. But I mean, it's not possible to meet with everybody. So having a book that can hopefully help them, I think, is the best thing.
Absolutely.
So, that's why I left it there.
You've left that quote unquote like environment or that community, but your book is still there, and that's still a resource for people.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Subscribe for more. Full episodes released Wednesdays.
I'm thrilled to share a product I trust and my patients love, Lemon Grove Oil. It's created by Dr. Jerry Del Canton, formulated to be absorbed super quickly, meaning neck pain, back pain, and arthritis relief come quickly. It's all natural with no sulfites, no parabens, and it's naturally derived, no preservatives. Something that's so important to us these days. If you want to feel better fast, give it a try. You won't be sorry. Visit lemongroveoil.com and use code Dr. Stephanie for 10% off. I vividly remember going to one of your retreats, and we were doing vision boards. So you kind of launched a different kind of coaching business after you were not so heavily involved in the grief coaching.
Yep.
And what did you just call it? Manifesting?
Well, I'm a manifesting generator. That's a human design term. But
tell me a little bit about human design for our listeners.
Yeah, so human design is kind of like it's like, I'm sure people have heard of Enneagram, right? There's these different personality assessment things, strengths finders, right? That's another personality assessment. I'm sure there's many of them we could name, but so human design is it's kind of a combination between, let me think of all the things it was. I probably won't say them all right, but it's kind of like, shoot, I forgot the word.
That's okay.
How you can't think of it. Oh, the Kabbalah is one of the things. So have you heard of the Kabbalah?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it takes like the Kabbalah and doggone it. You know what I'm talking about.
We're gonna cut this part out. We're gonna make it.
We're gonna get to it. I just can't think of the word.
I know. I'm
astrology.
Like astrology. Okay.
So it takes the Kabbalah and astrology, and I think there's something else which I can't remember the name of, so I don't care about that part. But for sure, it's really heavily in astrology.
Interesting.
And the lines of these different, it's super fascinating. It's very, very, it can go very, very deep. But like when I used to talk about human design, it was like, well, what type are you? There's like 5 types, that's like the main part to start with, right? What type are you? And when I found out I'm a manifesting generator, I'm like, well, of course I am. Like us manifesting generators, we're like on to the next thing and on to the next. And we've got so many ideas and we're like, and we're just over here we're doing the work of the world. Like, hello, it's part like we have all these great ideas and then we start doing everything, and we're not necessarily finishers of everything we start. We're good starters for sure, but anyways, so
I love for all of us walking here on this earth just to like know ourselves better in whatever capacity that is. I really love the Clifton Strengths. We did that with our
that's
staff.
another one.
And, like my business partner and I have 0 of the same top 5 strengths, which is so
good.
It's so
Yes,
good. It's so,
that's
so good.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Strengths Finders is a great one too. Right. And I think that's what I thought human design was good for, is just learning more about yourself. And I used it as a business tool when I was doing business coaching, just to help people understand themselves better and then be like, okay, well, what's the best way for you to work in your business? Let's look at, what your chart is showing. That's kind of what I was using it for. And people really liked that. And I did that for a while. And then, of course, I, moved on to the next thing, but it was fun. I still have my human design chart on the wall so I can watch it and remember, oh yeah, remember, this is me over here. So don't start getting off over here and wondering why things aren't going the way I want them to, right? Let's stick over here in my
Well, I
space.
mean, even with the I'm not an expert in the human design. I don't know anything really about it, but even with the Clifton strengths, let's just say that my strength is empathy. That
Yeah.
is my first strength. That can shift,
Interesting.
that's a pendulum. It can go so far in the other direction, that I can be too empathetic. I can be like,
Right.
oh, I don't really need to take your money. Let me just give everything away.
Yeah.
Not good for a business person.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think my top strength was futuristic, which I was like, well, of course, can you imagine me? I'm always talking about the next big idea, right?
Yes.
Well, yes, that makes total sense. Like the Strengths Finders was like to the T. I'm like, wow.
That's so cool.
It was
Yeah.
like interesting.
Manifesting generator. I love
Yeah.
that. Do you want to tell one of your stories about that time in your life, or I could, about the woman with the pink wedding shoes? Do you remember that story?
No, you tell it.
Okay, well,
Okay.
I vividly remember, and this is why I signed up for one of your vision board retreats, because there was a woman
Yes,
who
okay, you tell it, but now I'm totally getting it. Yes. Go ahead.
she cut out, so we were cutting out some different things. Now, I wasn't there during her retreat. This was I was at the next one, but she cut out a pair of pink high-heeled shoes. And she was like, I am going to get married and I'm going to be wearing pink, high-heeled shoes.
Yeah.
And she did.
And she was engaged, it wasn't that long after. And I was like, what? She didn't even have a boyfriend when she came to the retreat. And I was like, wow, well, that was quick.
Yes. I think that's just
It's
such
crazy.
a really cool
Yeah.
example of the power of visualization and the power of those
Yeah.
vision boards and
The visioning. I know. I even was remembering the other day. I'm like, remember when I used to make vision boards? I don't have one right now, but I thought it might be a good time to put another one together. I think could be useful at any time in your life, especially when you're going through a change, right? Like I am right now.
absolutely.
So
It's interesting. I don't know if you know Regan Hillier at all.
no,
She's kind of
Hillier
like a
sounds.
manifesting
Yeah.
coach. She's
Yeah.
very big on social media. She's Australian.
Okay.
But she talks a little bit about things that she's done in different phases of her life, right? Journaling was really big for her at one point, and then just pure visualizations or pure mantras so I mean, I do think that we need to give ourselves permission to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
To not just be like, oh, I have to only ever do vision boards.
Right. No. Yeah, different things come into your life for different reasons and different times. I do believe that too. I'm like, I have so many tools.
You do.
So many tools that I was like, well, just pull one out and use that. It doesn't matter.
You've done so many different things. I want to touch a little bit about you actually at one part, and I'm sure that it was very much integral in your healing journey. So you were raised in a specific faith, and
Yes.
that faith just didn't fit who you were anymore. And that
Yeah.
was a really, really big deal, like a volcano. Not
It
just,
was.
oh, I would sometimes do this, but you were so intricately involved in one specific religion.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that at all?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, I love talking about that stuff. That was another phase of change I went through. And of course, what's interesting about that is I never really had time to, or never really thought about it, right? Anything about the religion, or it was just like a part of my life. I was born into this thing, and you just do what it says. You don't even, what I recognize, you don't even think for yourself, right? You just go along. This is what we do. Right? You're born, my husband and I were both raised in the same religion. So, in that religion, you're really encouraged. You got to find somebody from the church. that's how you got to find someone from the church, get married, hurry up, get married, have babies, right? Like this is the thing. And my kids were raised in the church. They all got confirmed in the church. And then Trevor died. And then it was interesting because that's when I took a real hard look at it. Like, what does this even mean? And actually everything in my life came under a microscope. Like, what does this mean? How did we rate? Because there's a lot of questions when someone dies by suicide. Like, what did we do? Like, did we do something wrong? I mean, I had to come to realization there's nothing I did wrong. Like, maybe we could have prevented it, but probably not. I don't know. I've read a lot of suicide stories, done a lot of research on mental health and stuff, and I'm not sure it could have been prevented, but it did. I did think a lot about the religious aspect of it and what that meant for how he was raised. And the fact that he didn't necessarily believe that in the last how many years, which we didn't, there was weird things that came out before he died about that, So I guess I started researching about the Bible and religion. Me, I went off on a tangent and I researched tons of religions. I even had a podcast where I interviewed people who had left their religion. Like, that's how into it I was. I was so interested in all the stories of, how did you grow up and why did you leave and what did you decide? Like, I did that for a couple years, that research. And I came to a point where I was like, I can't stay in that anymore. I don't believe it. I don't think I was never given a choice to believe it or not. And you never even think about it. You just go along, you go along to get along. I'm good at that. I go along to get along. So it's like, and the thing is about leaving a church like that is a lot of people, you might lose some people. Let's just say that you'll lose friends, you'll lose family, like people, it's a closed closed community. And so then people are like, well, you're weird, or whatever. Right. Or it's uncomfortable for them.
Yeah. Right.
Because
right.
they're like, should I be looking at something? You know what I mean? They don't want to look at it.
Like, you've turned their back. You've turned your back on them. Like, why aren't you doing this anymore? Why aren't you a part of this anymore? Why aren't you, choosing this? How did your parents specifically react when you told them, like, I'm leaving the church?
So the thing is that my mom was converted into the church when she was in college. But I heard her story about it, and she chose that. She chose to be there. She wasn't forced into it. She wasn't even dating my dad at the time. So she wasn't dating anybody. She just found the church on her own. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And what I thought, and I think I did tell her this, I said, well, you got to choose it. I never got to choose it. I never had the choice. And I want to be able to choose it now. I want to choose what I want to do. And so she actually was really understanding, which I was surprised. But you know what? She was really understanding. Like, I get it. Like, she left her church too, that she was raised in. But, I found out like all my kids had already left the church before that. So it wasn't like in my own family, it didn't matter so much. Maybe Rob was a little bit like, oh, I don't know, what should we? It's just that we're so conditioned.
Yeah.
That this is what we're going to do. And this is how your life is going to go. And you're going to always have these people in your life. And it is a big thing to leave a community. It's just a huge deal to leave a community like that.
Oh,
and
it absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? I love my family. I still go to all the church events, like all the weddings and the funerals. I love going to those things because that's for me a social event. It's like, yay, I get to see everybody. They're perfectly fine with me. So I don't think it's been terrible. And I still have some really close friends, which I travel with them every year. They still go to the church. So I've come to a place where I can just coexist with these people, and I can still love them. And I think they still love me. And I think one thing is as we get older as women, though, what I think happens is we don't care so much about that stuff we thought we cared so much about when in our 30s. You know what I mean? That's what I think. My friends are that way too. It's like, okay, a lot has happened in our lives. They've seen a lot of different things. They've been exposed to different things in their families that are outside the bounds of the church, right? And I think that it makes us all a little more compassionate, and accepting of people. So
definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful miracle that you were able to like maintain friendships and maintain
Yeah.
those familial relationships. And really almost the miracle is that you and your husband have
Yeah.
stayed together through
That
all
was.
of this.
Yeah, we've been married for what? We got married in 1991. So I can't remember. Don't ask me to do math on a podcast because I'm an accountant,
35
but
years.
nope.
That's 35 years of marriage.
Yeah, that's amazing. 35 years. Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
it's one thing to survive, for your relationship to survive, your son's suicide, and then for you guys to navigate like leaving the childhood church that you were
Yes.
both raised in. I mean, these are a
Exactly.
lot of changes that you guys have gone through.
Yes. There's been a ton of, well, marriage, like I said, it has its ups and downs, but these are like two huge things, like huge things we went through in our
So
life.
you've been a grief coach and you've been a
Yeah.
life coach. You haven't been a marriage coach, but what would you tell our listeners? Maybe there is someone listening who, they're in a marriage, maybe there's been a tragedy. What would you tell them? What advice would you give them about navigating this, and or like how did you even stay married?
Yeah. Well, we did actually have a discussion one day that maybe we would get separate, at least separate, because there was so much pain in our house and we just didn't know how to deal with it. It was just so much pain. But what I came to realize is, how is that going to solve any problems? I didn't see how that was going to solve anything. I just felt like it could make it worse. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point of us living in two separate places and we've got these kids is that going to help them at all? Like, my focus was on how are we going to get the kids through this? You know what I mean? So I didn't think that would be helpful. So I guess that was a saving grace for me, having realization, even though it sounds glorious to me, it's not going to help anything. We have to stay together and we're going to work through this. And also, here's another thing we decided. Neither of us is stuck in this marriage. At one point, we decided to have this thought that I'm not stuck here. Like, I'm choosing to stay with you. You're choosing to stay with me, because here's the thing about the church. The church was like, once you're married, it's for eternity. And if you get divorced, that's such a sin and you should be so ashamed, all that stuff. It's like, we just sloughed off that. That was our programming. Like, no, we are choosing to stay in this marriage. And we're going to get up and choose it every day. We did talk about that a lot. Like, we're choosing this and we're going to decide. Neither of us is stuck here. If we want to have a discussion ever about leaving, that's fine. We're not going to choose to feel stuck in a marriage. And so actually that gave us a lot of freedom then.
Yeah.
Like, how do we want to be together? It's not my job to make you happy and it's not your job to make me happy. Let's just we enjoy doing things together. So let's just enjoy doing things together. Like, we don't have to feel stuck,
That's actually like, that's a revolutionary thought, like truly, to sort of look at your spouse and say, you're free to go.
Yeah.
Like if you don't want this, if you're not choosing this, sort of like the thought that something is happening to you versus for you. Like, you're staying married because you choose to, you're not staying married because you have to.
Well, right. Exactly. I mean, that's what we decided.
That alone is probably like, very freeing, because I think, even when you talk a little bit about like, why would you want to manifest something? Freedom is probably the main reason that people want to manifest something, right? Like, if you want to manifest more money, it's not because like you want a Lamborghini. You probably just don't want to work so much so you can be home with your kids more, or so you can go on more vacations.
Yeah,
But that central theme is freedom, right?
Right.
So you and Rob gave yourself freedom in the marriage to choose it or not to choose it. And that probably released something.
It did. And I mean, so we're a whole lot, I would say, more independent in our marriage too, where I have my own life in my marriage. He has his own life. Like, we're not dependent on each other that, hey, we have to be together all the time and we have to do everything together. And if we're not, oh no, life is terrible. Like, it's like, no, I have my friends and you have your friends and we come together. We love traveling. So we take a couple huge trips together, but I also take a trip with my friends and he also will go on a golf trip. Like, we just gave each other the freedom to, what kind of life do you want to have? And then we can also have a life together. Like it just, yes, I just and it's been fun. Like it's been more fun that way, right? We don't have to, our kids, I remember our daughter saying, Mom, she said, my friends think you guys are so funny. Like you're like flirting and chasing each other around the kitchen still. She said their parents don't even talk to each other ever. I'm like, I don't know. You just have to have fun. You know what I mean? Like that's what keeps it fun.
Well,
You know?
and I mean, I really do think that there's something about that statement that you just made that you gave each other permission to leave, you know? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are so many people, whether it's religion or, you know, whether it's just like a like a, not self-fulfilling, but like a prophecy that they put over themselves. Like, I can never
Yeah.
get divorced. And if you say,
Yeah.
I can never eat chocolate, you know, what do you want to do? You want to
You
eat
want to eat
chocolate.
it.
You know,
Exactly.
like, so if
Yes.
you're like,
I
I can
know.
choose strawberries or chocolate, like, you know, if you sort of give yourself that permission, that freedom to choose, I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
truly, truly powerful
Well,
in
because
really,
then, and also you think about, well, why am I staying? Like, why do I want to stay? What do I like about this person? And what do I like about him as a dad to the kids? And what do I, you know, what do we just, so I mean, it does focus more on what it focuses less on the things you don't like and more on the things you enjoy. Like, well, of course I'm going to stay. You know, is it any better anywhere else? I mean, I don't know, you know, there's problems with everybody, right? There's problems with relationships. There's any other person you've come across, you're good. They're going to have some flaws you don't like too. So it's
oh my
like,
gosh. Yeah,
you
like
know,
one of my friends says, like, choose your hard, you know? It's hard to be alone and it's hard to have a partner, and, you know, choose which road, choose which, you know,
yeah,
mountain you want to climb.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're happy.
That's wonderful. You know, would you call yourself like an optimist by nature? Like, I don't know if that human design talks a
Yeah.
little bit about that, but you seem to like be someone who has this constitutional ability to heal and to be powerfully, and I don't want to say Pollyanna positive, but like
Yeah.
you've got some sort of grit, some sort of ability.
It's called Sisu.
Oh, yes.
I'm Finnish. We have Sisu.
So tell our listeners the definition of Sisu.
Well, Sisu is just like strength at fortitude. I don't know. Think of the Finlanders living in that up north cold weather up there. You know, they've just got some Sisu up there. No, I just think that, and I wish I could tell you a better definition. My daughter would be able to rattle off something right off the top of her head, but it's just like, yeah, like a fortitude of, hey, we're going to get through this. Now, one thing about the Finns, like, because that whole community I grew up in is Finnish. That church, it's Finnish. Most of the people are like 100% Finnish, right? And so the one thing about them too is that they tend to be like, we're going to get through it and we're not going to talk about our feelings and everything gets swept under the rug. That's not the Sisu I have. I'm like, nope, I'm going to talk about it. We're going to talk about everything. Like, we're going to lay it all out there. Like, we're not sweeping anything under the rug. You know, let's accept our feelings and yeah. I think that life is actually sweeter in some ways after Trevor died. I mean, it's a weird thing to say, but it's like so many things were opened up to me. Like, wow, like life just became like, oh my gosh, like there's all these things and I never really thought about this and never dug into that. And like it just when he died, I guess it gave me purpose, I guess, to go and explore what is life supposed to be about. Because really, that's kind of what you think when you lose a child. Like,
Yeah.
what is life about? Like, I don't get it. At the beginning, nothing seems good, right? It's like, I don't even understand why did we have these kids? Like, it's the weirdest stuff that goes through your head. Like, it's just dark, dark stuff, you know? You really do go to the abyss, right? It's like you go to the edge of the abyss. Like, you're like, I don't even know why we're here and why we're doing this, what we're here for. And it does kind of make you search, I guess, the meaning of life. It's a big search. And so I think that's why I went to all the things. And I always have this weird thought, like, well, what if Trevor didn't die? I mean, what would have happened? Would I have just kept on the same old path, just going along, right? I don't know. It's very weird to think about that.
It is like, and I mean, I think that so many of us Westerners, whether it's Finnish culture or this culture, but we do have this like prescription for life, right? It's like you're going to go to school, you're going to get your,
Yeah.
your high school diploma, then you're going to go to college, then you're going to graduate, then you're going to find a partner, then you're going to get a job. Then like
Yeah.
whether it's
Yes.
self-programmed or whether it's culturally programmed, but like you even mentioned, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it was like you were like sleeping, like sleepwalking, like
Right.
you went to work,
That's what you were
had
doing.
kids,
Yeah.
and
You're so busy
so
running
busy.
around.
Yeah, so busy. And, there's like that phrase, like, are you doing, are you being? Are you a human being? Are you a human doing? But
Yeah.
I mean, I will wholeheartedly say, hello, I'm Stephanie and I'm type A. My to-do list is constant. I don't know if I've said this on the podcast, but my daughter asked my husband if I was a bridezilla. And he said not at all. She wasn't a bridezilla. She wasn't a girlfriendzilla. He said, but she's a momzilla. And I mean, you kind
Yeah.
of like go into this overdrive of,
It's like a mama bear mode, maybe, or what? Is that what you're
yeah,
saying? Kind of like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's really, really, really crazy to think about your process, right? Like how
Yeah.
you were able to come from.
From the depths of grief, yes. It is. I know. I mean, I'm grateful for myself because if I hadn't done that, I don't know where our family would be. Somebody had to come and put it together. And then it's funny because I learned all these coaching skills and I would be talking to my clients about these things and I'd be talking just in general about all these things I was learning and my tools and stuff. And then I'd hear my husband on the phone with my daughters coaching them using the same stuff. And I thought, see, this is why I did it. I had to do it for him too. Like, even though he didn't think he needed it, he was like, that's coaching stuff, right? Well, he was using all the concepts.
Yeah.
With our kids, at his work, it made him a better boss. He's got like 65 people or something under him. Like, he just became a better manager. I just thought there's a reason that I had to go do all that,
Yeah.
It was a lot of work. However, I mean, it's so worth it to be able to get your kids to a point where they can be productive adults in society, I mean, that could have been really terrible for them,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're, so profoundly beautiful that you were able to step through that and help your family through that, help your kids through that, help your husband through that. I'm getting so emotional, but let's talk about the fact that no. I mean, I think it's so interesting that you are a CPA because people listening are probably like, aren't CPAs like really like dry, vanilla, boring people? And like,
that's what I used to wonder. I'm like, how do we ever pick this profession?
You're like energetic and you're talking about like breaking through limits and conquering this and yet you are a brilliant CPA. And
thank you.
You are. And I think it's so cool because, even for those of us who are women, female business owners, I'm just going to say this. There's that typical white man who feels like you're a little girl who did something wrong. If you are having questions or if you're, maybe you didn't do something right, or maybe you didn't keep track of something correctly. But, I can speak about this. Like I was just talking to a chiropractic student and I'm like, remind me what you learn in chiropractic school about business. And she was like, filling out the 1500 form. And I said, that's obsolete. You don't even do that anymore. Like,
wow.
I really would love, with my 20 years in chiropractic experience, love to go and talk to women about the reality of running your own business and what it means to be a clinician and a business owner and not have those experiences where it's like you're sort of cowering to, an old white man who is maybe judging you, about that. So tell our listeners, like maybe there are women out there that are listening, maybe they're business owners, and tell us, Rebecca, what you do as a CPA and how you love to work with entrepreneurs.
Yes. No, I actually started as a CPA in auditing. So a long time ago, I was an auditor for like 5 years at a local, CPA firm. And, that just gave me so much, I guess, experience seeing behind the scenes of all these different kinds of businesses, governmental entities, nonprofits, like construction businesses, school districts. We had just so many different, it was banks, right? I audited banks. Like some of that was super boring. However, I learned a lot. So, yeah, so that was like the foundation. I think, well, before that, I actually had a bookkeeping job like for several years in Illinois. So I started there first, but I would say the foundation of my knowledge and my love for business was like, oh my gosh, there's all these different businesses, but really some of them were like big. I like the small, like the mom and pop shops or like the chiropractors, the service providers, the people, they're just the small people. I don't want these huge, like right now I work for, and as I'm starting up my own firm, I'm still working for this, really large multi-place. I guess it's a big startup company, right? It's a huge national startup company. They have several different plants, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I mean, it's interesting and stuff, but I'm really like to the point of no. You know what? I need to go back to working with entrepreneurs. I love people. I like connection. I like community. And I like numbers. And can those all exist in the same place? Like, I think they can.
I think they can too. And I think like how wonderful that they can,
Yeah.
Like if any of our listeners are thinking, what I'm thinking, even by talking about you, is that like we can rewrite the rules. We can rewrite the rules of our programming from our childhood. We can rewrite the rules of, what we say to our partner, our husband, our spouse. Like we can rewrite the rules about what our next step in life is, right?
Yeah.
Like it's funny, you mentioned that, and I hope it's cool that I say this, but that at work that you guys don't even have video Zooms, that people are like invisible. And
yes, it's so weird. How do you connect with people who won't put their camera on?
yeah,
So you can't see their face. It's very strange to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
I want to see people.
Exactly. You are so you're so exuberant, and I can't imagine if you're just sitting behind like a blank black screen.
This is what it is. It's like a screen that you can't see the person, but you can see they're talking, and then we're gabbing to each other. And I'm like, why won't they just put their camera on? But you know what? A lot of these are a lot of men in this company.
Yeah.
I guess they don't think it's important. I don't know, but see, I think that I haven't been fulfilled because of that. Like this job, it's not fulfilling. I'm like, I need this social part too. And I can build my business to be whatever I want. So part of the thing I love about building your own business is you can also work with the kind of clients you want, right? So it's like the clients I want to work with are people who also they like to meet in person, or they like to see each other over Zoom. They like to, they like to talk about business even. They like to talk about how to make their life easier, more simple. I love simplifying concepts. That's one of my favorite things is like, let's just take all these weird tax laws and like simplify. What does that mean for you? Like, we don't need to, you don't need to know the tax code. Let's just find these concepts and simplify them,
Right.
I just love that stuff.
What a beautiful thing for people who math isn't their jam, and it is intimidating, and it's crazy.
I know. So my thought is, I think when you ask like, who do I work with? I mean, right now it's like, well, I know a lot of people need help, and I know there's a shortage of accountants and CPAs in the area. I've heard in our area, but it's funny. Like my first clients have not been from our area. That's hilarious, right? People are like, hey, so-and-so needs help. And they're like in Washington State. I'm like, okay, so we can have this virtual business, but I still feel like there's going to be plenty of clients locally that I will want to work with. But I think part of my vision is I want to also have a program where I can help business owners, especially women, like middle-aged women who are running businesses. I love that group of people. I want to bring them together in a community, you know, and I want us to like support each other and learn from each other. And somehow that's going to come. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just what I do best. I think I want to bring a community together. You know, I want to have business retreats. Like, they don't have to be about business, but they're just women getting together. I love retreats. I want to get
Yes.
back to retreats, you know?
That's amazing. Retreats are so powerful because,
They are.
you know, even if we have like a 1 hour meeting after work, we're still running home to a dirty kitchen. And whether your kids are at home or not, you've got the laundry and you've got the lawn to mow. And, you know, sort of separating from that, I think is really powerful.
I know. And I think women, I mean, I've been to many retreats because I was in the coaching space. I think it's been the last retreat I went to was actually not even like a coaching kind of or a business retreat. It was about an eating thing. It was like called the carnivore retreat, which is funny, right? I tried the carnivore thing. You know me, I did all the things. But what was interesting about that retreat is there was no like, I was so used to going to retreats where this is what you're going to get from it. This is what, you know, we're going to do all this stuff. Literally, this was on the shores of New Jersey at the ocean in this condo. And we didn't really do anything. We went to the beach. We sat on the beach. We like walked to town and went shopping in town. I was like, this is amazing. Like, we just sit around. We sat around the campfire at night. Like, I thought that was the best retreat for that. I was like, you don't have to have a big program, you know, eat good food together. That's what we did. We ate good. Well, it was carnivore. So it was a carnivore food retreat, but we didn't do any like major learning and all those things of bring up all your stuff. You know, you don't have to do that. You just gabbed as human beings. You know, it was great. And I thought that's the kind of retreat. I think a lot of women business owners need that. You need to just go away, get away from your business and your home for, you know, 3 nights or something. Go to the beach, hang out with each other, have fun, like talk about all the things in your life. That's what women need. We just need to like unload. You know, it's like, you never know what you'll pick up from that, right? It's just like such good connections. And I think that women need that really. They really do. So that's one of my visions. I'm going to do that again.
I love it. Well, you're putting it out there and you are the manifester. So I'm sure that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. We talked about the fact, like, well, when will you be ready to retire? Or the fact that you're not ready.
That I'm not ready to retire. I have way too much work to do. I love working. I know I need to be intellectually stimulated. I did. So this is me doing all my rabbit holes. Like, I'm such a learner, as you've probably learned over the years because we've known each other for a while. I went through a deep dive of retirement and like, well, what would that be like if we retired now? You know? And then I was like, I did a deep dive. I watched a ton of YouTube videos and listened to a lot of podcasts and I read some books and I did some numbers, right? Met with a financial advisor. I was like curious. Well, what could you tell us about this? And after a while, I'm like, why am I even digging into this? Like, that sounds dry. Like, what am I going to do if I retire? I'm so bored if I don't do anything. So I'm like, no, actually, I have a lot more to do. I need to start a business. That's what I need. I don't need retirement.
You know, the really beautiful thing about that is that not only is it fueling your soul, but you are bringing such a unique and beautiful niche service to the world. You know, I mean, you might say, well, accounting isn't niche, you know, but with all of your years of experience and the fact that you really want to focus on female business owners, I mean, like, we need you. Like, we women.
Yeah. I know. That'll be. I just envision this club thing that's going to be happening in my business. I'm like, oh, it's going to be like a club. I love it. I don't know yet what it's going to look like. It just feels good, like to talk about it, even, you know. But thank you for asking me about it because it's fun to envision what it's going to be like.
Well, and you know, Rebecca, this might be a perfect time. We've covered so much ground. We've talked about the fact that we could have like weekly podcasts, but where can someone find you that's looking for accounting services? Tell our listeners.
I I mean, I guess right now I have turbobookkeeping.com is the name of my website. For now, like it's going to change, but right now I'm at the beginning here and just trying to get something out there. But yeah, if there's a place you can book a call on the website. So that would be a good place. And also probably gives my email on there. You can also email me info@turbobooking.com. So Turbo Bookkeeping. Did I say booking or bookkeeping? I meant Turbo Bookkeeping. Okay. Yeah.
But I want to spell that for our listeners. So Tervo is Tervo.
V as in Victor, because some people call me Turbo, not Turbo.
Yeah, this is not TurboTax.
No, it's not TurboTax. It is TurboTax, though. TurboTax and accounting.
Tervo.
V-O. Yes.
Well, Rebecca, it's been such a pleasure. And I think that you bring so much. You really do bring so much hope. I mean, for any of us mothers who can't even imagine the tragedy of what you've gone through, and just to see that you've conquered and that you've done so many things, that you continue to give yourself permission to reinvent yourself. And really, really, really brings hope, which so many people need.
Yeah. And, I used to think, man, when you get older, you just kind of, go away and retire. But many years ago, one of my clients, she started her business when she was 57 and she ran it for like 15 or 17 years after that. And I'm like, that was so inspiring to me. I was in my 30s at the time and she was my client, and I was like, oh, you can start a business at any age. Literally, that's what I thought. And now I'm almost 57. I'm not 57 yet, but I'm like, I can start a business at any age. Wait a minute. I don't have to retire. Like, what am I thinking?
Exactly.
So yeah, you can at any age just reinvent yourself and do something else. That's what I feel like.
Well, it's been just such a gift for you to be on this show. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners?
I mean, I just feel like, you know what? Life is so beautiful. And yes, sometimes it's hard. We all have hard things that happen. But I mean, I think just look beyond that. Like there's always hope to go on and go do something different, change something if it's not working. Like I totally have done that so many times. I just change it up and like, well, this isn't working. Let's do something else. So I just think that, until we're dead, we have all this life to live. Like, let's just do it, And if you need help, go get help. That's so, so important. My kids learned that, it's okay. It's okay to go to therapy. Therapy is okay. It's not a bad thing to need help, right? So, and I mean, I still go to a therapist. I mean, I find it helps with business, life, marriage. I don't know, anything. Therapists, it's a great thing to do. So I just would encourage everybody. I think one of the main, and my husband would say that too, that therapy is like such a huge thing in your life. Like he has, he's done it. Our kids, we've all done it. And you don't have to lose somebody to go to therapy. It's good for any time,
Yeah.
So I would say, yes, just go live your life. And if you're having a problem, find someone to help you. Like that's what people are for. We're all here to help each other.
Absolutely. Reach out for help. Yeah. Well, we're going to have so many. I love it. Thank you so much. We're going to have so many of these resources and links in the show notes. And Rebecca, you're really, truly inspirational. I mean, that's such an overused word, but to think about all that you've done, all that you've accomplished, and to give our listeners a little bit of hope that there is a possibility to be joyful again. Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful.
Yes. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's been really fun.
It's been such a pleasure. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, would you please rate it, review it, like, or subscribe? You can find me on social media at wautierwellness.com, Dr. Stephanie Wautier on Instagram, or Wautier Wellness Chiropractic and Massage on Facebook. And I'm so curious where your next conversation will take you. This episode of Conversations with a Chiropractor is supported by Lemon Grove Oil. One of the things I'm always paying attention to, both in this podcast and in my work, is where something comes from. Not just what a product says it does, but who created it, why they created it, and whether there is real care behind it. That is one of the reasons lemon grove oil feels like such a natural fit here. Lemon Grove was founded by chiropractor Dr. Jerry Del Canton. This is not a random wellness brand that appeared overnight because CBD became popular. It grew out of the chiropractic world, where trust matters, where quality matters, and where people are often looking for thoughtful ways to support themselves between visits, during their busy seasons of life, and in the day-to-day routines that shape how they feel. Lemon Grove offers professional-grade CBD products, including topical lotions, butters, roll-ons, and gummies. They focus on quality, transparency, THC-free formulations with third-party testing, and products designed with healthcare providers in mind. I think that matters because when you are choosing something for yourself or your family, you want more than nice packaging. You want to know there is a real philosophy behind it. If you're curious about Lemon Grove oil, visit their website at www.lemongroveoil.com.
Visit the link in the description and use code DRStephanie at checkout to save 10% on your next order. This offer is exclusive to listeners of Conversations with a Chiropractor.